from that.
Sexplosion is on Power 102. And now on new days and at new times. The country's most informative sex education program, Sexplosion, is on every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. and Fridays from 9 p.m. to midnight with Dr. Raj Ramnanan, the guru of sex in the Caribbean.
A lot of times we think that sex is totally below the waist. It is not below the waist. It starts in the brain. Your largest sex organ that you possess is your brain.
Tune in for discussion on all sexual matters. Sexplosion on Power 102. Empowering you. This is Power 102. Empowering you.
Good evening. Curtis, how are you? Yvonne, good night.
Just about 4.5 minutes past 7. Rainy Thursday evening. Sexplosion starts now with Dr. Raj. Good evening, Dr. Raj.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm good.
Rainy?
Yes.
At least it's not that cold in here. I
I
didn't walk with my jacket.
Well, I had to go for mine just to be prepared.
Just to be prepared,
Once
yes,
it's
yes,
rainy
yes.
outside.
Yes, it gets very cold in here. It's a pleasant good evening to all of you on social media, those of you on our app, those of you who are watching us on power102fm.com, those of you who are listening to us on radio, pleasant good evening. We're here to talk about sex, sex education for you. This is Sexplosion with Dr. Raj and Mac Daddy.
Yeah.
So, before we go further, maybe you don't know this about me, but I'm a cricket fanatic. Not a fan, fanatic.
Fanatic.
Yes.
That's
So,
like an air condition.
well, beyond that, so for those who are watching the CPL match and listening to the program, send me the scores now and then, please. We had an enjoyable time last night at the Oval.
You went to the Oval?
Oh yeah, of course. Once there's cricket, I'm there.
Well, I ended up on that end because I went to pick up a friend of mine who lives down and up with me. And when I was getting along, I said, my God, Wednesday evening, I mean, full house.
Full house.
Full house.
And that's good. It augurs well
well,
for cricket, and
yes,
I love the sport. I will never want to see anything happen to the sport. As a matter of fact, I go to test match.
Okay.
I go there and sit down for 5 days. That's how much I love cricket.
Yes.
I love test match more than anything else. But I mean, T20 and whatnot, it's the entertainment, it's the quickness about it. I love it. I love that.
New cricket.
Any aspect of cricket I love.
Me too.
So it's good, and for those of you who are fortunate enough to have the time off tomorrow night, please go to the match tomorrow. And I think the next one is on Sunday. Try your best to go. I can't. I have my commitment to be on radio and talk about things of a sexual nature, so I wouldn't be there. But of course, whatever I can look at on television, I will. So let's talk sex. My cousin Anne is on. Pleasant good evening to you. I see Izzy's on. My good friend Curtis Watch, Yvonne from Sangre Grande, Imran, Robin. So a pleasant good evening to all of you who are tuned into the program. Those of you who want to send me your WhatsApp messages, of course, it's 7401961. That number again is 7401961. And I have to keep giving that number on this program because we have a different audience. Although we still have some of our regular audience from a Wednesday night and Friday night listening to the program and viewing the program on a Tuesday. We have a new audience. I can tell you that because I see from the messages that I get outside of the program, like on a Friday after the program, I can tell it's new listeners and new persons to the program. And it has to do with the time slot. Because some persons, they go to sleep very early, so they can at least take in the program from 7 to 9. Now, they may want to know why Dr. Raj? What's Dr. Raj doing on the radio? Why is he talking about sex? For those of you, and of course, there are lots of persons out there who don't know who Dr. Raj is. And I want to clarify that. I'm not a medical doctor. I've never professed to be a medical doctor. I have my PhD in applied health studies with a specialty in sex, gender, and sexuality. I started studying sex at a very young age in my teenage years. I continued it through my early years of university. And there I started to specialize in the study of sex and everything that has to do with sex. And, you know, I saw a quotation today. I wonder if I could find that quotation somewhere. I'm sure I could find the quotation. I don't want to misquote the quotation. You know, it's always good to have things... you know, anytime someone is boastful or they show abhiman or pride or proud, they're proud of their knowledge, and they don't accept the fact that there's things to learn all the time, it shows the low mentality of the individual. And many a times I come across persons who, when you tell them that you deal with things of a sexual nature, they will try to put you down. They will try to tell you something negative, or they say, you can't teach me nothing, I already know everything. It shows the mentality of the individual. Yeah, well, that's what it does. It shows the mentality of the individual. And you and I know that's not so. We have been around for some time. We know the era in which we grew up in. And we know knowledge is something to embrace all the time. Those of us who are teachers out there, those of us who are students out there will know that. And when I say teachers, I don't mean just the teachers who teach in primary school and high schools and universities and whatnot. I mean those of you who teach persons. Sometimes a person comes to you and asks you a question, and you give them the correct, truthful information or answer. And those are persons who are teachers. And a teacher will teach you throughout his or her life. Same thing with being a student. You learn throughout your lifetime. You know, on Wednesday, the usual thing that I do on Wednesday, everyone who knows me and knows me well know that I don't work on a Wednesday. Wednesday is my Lyman day to spend with my best friends who I grew up with from early childhood. And we were at this particular business place in Trinity Mall, and a young lady, I was being introduced to the young lady by one of my friends, and there was a lady there. And when they told her, well, this is Dr. So-and-so, and they were showing her my card here, that is not for me. I don't have any issues. So I just look at her and smile, and I say, okay. But you don't have to have an issue to be friendly to someone, or just to say hello. You understand? But it's the wrong impression that individuals have about things of a sexual nature. For them, they hear sex, they either think negatively about it, or they're thinking that, if I only confess to something of a sexual nature, what does that make me? Does it make me perverted? Does it make me corrupted? And person put labels on themselves, you know.
Yeah, some people look at it as something that you keep in the closet.
Keep in the closet, exactly. I should not have to discuss that. I should not have to even use that word sex, because sex is a nasty, dirty word, when it's not. But many a times we think that it is a dirty word because we have been programmed to think that way. And it just goes to show you what, as V.S. Naipaul says, we are all mimic men. We are programmed in a particular way. We are robotic in our thinking because there are so many things that are passed on to us that are false, but we embrace it and we adhere to it throughout our lifetime. And because of that, we build a certain level of ignorance where we don't learn things. We don't know anything different, or we're not open-minded enough to embrace things of a different nature. And that's one of the downfalls of a lot of people. You know, you see them not willing to accept changes, and changes come. Change is the only constant in this universe. Everything changes.
Exactly.
A day, no 2 days are the same. Do not expect that when you wake up in the morning, it's going to be exactly the same way as you woke up yesterday morning. It could be cloudy, it could be dark, it could be rainy, it could, at the very same hour of the day. So you have to take into consideration that there are changes that are going to take place in life. Now, when I was a very young person, I decided to study sex. And persons, always ask me the question, why? Why were you thinking about sex at that young age? And I can't answer that question truthfully, in the sense that I don't know why. It was like, you know, some people say they get a vision. Some person may say they get a feeling.
Some people say you want to get gift.
Right. And I've been told that many times. And I think it's a combination of all those things. Because I knew at 11 years and 4 months of age, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn sex. I wanted to become an expert in that field. Now, at that age, if you tell someone that, they're going to think you're crazy.
Carry for your parents for a good cocktail.
Well, apart from the good cocktail, they might take you to St. Anne's Mental Hospital to be evaluated. According to my friends, like you stop taking your medication. Or maybe you should start taking medication. Who knows? But it stayed in me, and I started to study at the library, getting books and, going into it and reading and gathering my information and sifting through the nonsense, because there was a lot of nonsense out there at that time also. And where did that take me? It took me down a path where everything that I came into contact with and everything that I did was of a sexual nature. And the law of attraction is real.
Yes.
The more you get into something, the more that something gets into you. And you're covered by it. And here I was, a young person, going to high school. I went to Northeastern College in Sangre Grande. And everything around me centered around that. And I would be getting information that other persons weren't able to get. And people would be telling me things that ordinarily they would not say to others. And I was wondering why. And persons will have a trust in me that whatever they tell me would not get to a second or third party. And it always remained with me. To this day, that's how I operate. Many a times I see things, hear things. I'm in conversation with clients and whatnot of things that will make other person's blood churn or make them think, wow, something is wrong here. And I hear these things daily. But it is not my duty to share that with other persons. I mean, when I come here, I speak generically. That's what I do. I speak in a generic way. I don't pinpoint anyone, race, color, creed, or class, religion, nothing like that. I speak in a generic form. So that those, if it fall in your garden, it's not because I'm pinpointing you. It's because you fit into the mold. Not the mold is made because of you. And lots of time persons don't understand that. Because sometimes I may be talking about erectile dysfunction and I may make a comment. But the comment is not about you specifically. But if you realize the comment is, you have a similar experience based on the comments that Dr. Raj makes, you fall into the mold. And this is where a lot of persons get tied up. I am here to give the information and tell you things about yourself and your spouse, your loved one, your partner. But I'm also here to tell you that there's help in anything. And that's what we do. That's what I do. When it was not cool it's still not cool to go and tell your parents that you want to go and study sex. I have had persons come to me. I have given scholarship for numerous students to go and study. I have mentored individuals who wanted to go and study sex and to become a sexologist. I've had persons call me and ask me what they should be studying at high school in order to become a sexologist, and I will guide them. And to this day, I still guide individuals and whatnot. Some want to take it through the line of psychiatry, which is not a problem. Some want to do it through the medical field, which is also not a problem, but you're always limited when you do it that way. And some persons, they will say, well, I don't mind if I tell my parents I want to become a psychiatrist, but really a sexologist I want to become, By all means, however you want to do it, it's your business, because you will know how you have to deal. But I have always been an individual that stood out from everything else, because I didn't take crap from anybody, and I was out front. I would give you an answer. My mother used to always tell me, I have a plaster for every sore. Still do. There's nothing that anyone can tell me that I wouldn't have an answer right away. So I would continue my studies. I would guide, I would mold myself in a particular way. I read about all these individuals who came before me and throughout the world, not only in the United States, which we are very close to, we are part of the Americas, but also in Europe and also the Far East, Middle East, and whatever else. And I don't think that there's anyone who took the path that I took, that I've read about. I don't have a mentor out there that I can say I follow him or her and use them as a mold, because I created my own mold. And that's what makes me unique in what I do. I created my own mold. And as I was learning, going through the era and time that I was studying, I had my own template by which I operated. I created my own template also. So sometimes now when persons ask me, well, what exactly did you do and how you do it? Sometimes if I go to tell persons those things, they will think I'm a madman. And they will really think I'm a madman. But it's because of my characteristics and the individual that I am. I created that mold. I broke molds that were there before, and I just took a path that an ordinary individual would not think about taking. So here I am on radio, after coming back to Trinidad, establishing a clinic, doing things of a sexual nature. One of the things I'll tell you is that when I first came back to Trinidad, Trinidad wasn't ready for me. The society wasn't ready for anything sexual. The society wasn't ready for sexual knowledge and all those things. But one of the things that I discovered is that I was always thinking ahead in everything that I did. When I started my first business, which was the gym, I did not want to have a gym for people to just come and work out. I wanted to have a gym that would have been so successful, everyone will try to emulate it, which is what we did. We won every competition in the world. I trained some of the best athletes, cyclists, boxers, strike squad, footballers, cricketers. I trained them personally. Girls who went up for Miss Universe, Miss World. As a matter of fact, I sponsored a Miss Universe. So we were there and then part of everything. As a matter of fact, one guy came to me one day and he said, Raj, just call the name of a horse. And I was like, what? I don't know. He said, just call the name of a horse, it's going to win. Never forgot that. He said, you just call the name of any horse that you see on the paper there and they're going to win. Because you have been just successful, but it's because of my attitude. The success, and well, I would not take full credit for my success. First and foremost, my wife stood with me in everything that I did from day one, even as a student. She was my girlfriend. She stood with me throughout that time. Secondly, I had the support of my family. It may not have been 100% support, but it was always there. Despite the fact that some of it was not what they wanted or what they would consider to be important.
They were more curious in the support.
Some of them were curious in the support, some of them were distant in the support. It was like, he crazy, let you do what you want to do, and Dr Raj.
Yeah.
And some of them were full-fledged into it. And my godfather. So my success was not my own success. It was persons who were always there to assist me in that way, to give me the support that you always need to become successful. No, I don't think there's any man out there who can stand up and say that I am successful strictly because of me.
No,
No, absolutely no one.
that would be very, very false.
Yeah. And that will be too egotistical.
Yeah.
And I don't ever think that I am that way. So when I did some unsavory things, I did some things that in hindsight, no, I never regretted anything that I did. But no, if I had the knowledge that I have now, I would not have done it that way then. But I didn't. And I was creating my own mold. So there were times that I was selling stuff out of the trunk of my car. But it wasn't... It's considered to be illegal by statute law, based on customs law, but not the law of the land. In terms of, it's not something police will run you down for, right? But customs will have an issue with it. Although customs law is part of the law of the land, right? So I retract that. But it was more something to do with importation as opposed to selling. So that's how I did it. But at the same time, like my father told me, when that stint with the bodybuilding and gym and all that was concerned, he said, you always think ahead of your time. When I first opened the gym and it was air conditioned and all set up that way, and when people would come to me, especially in the area that I was in, the Trin City, Aruka area, Tunapuna, Arima, they would come and say, you can't build body in be a bodybuilder in air condition, and I was like, yeah, you want to see? So what do those people who live in cold country do? They take off the thing. If you let turn up the heat to build body.
Yeah, it's true.
You understand? So we think in a myopic way when we don't know better. It's like when you buy a bottle of wine, and they tell you wine should be had at room temperature. Room temperature in Europe is cool or cold. Room temperature in Trinidad is hot and sticky and muggy. So what applies to one country does not apply to another. And this is what we have to do to learn to adapt. Sometimes we don't understand that. It's like, no one, when you read the news and whatnot these days, you will see that. Good evening, my dear friend Davis Emil, my good friend from Sangre Grande, who I grew up with. He now lives in New York. I see he has joined us. When you look at Europe right now, and you look at Portugal and Spain, the temperatures there, if we get in Trinidad, we dead.
Yeah,
We dead. Temperatures in the 40s,
I tell you,
high 40s.
people are dying.
Well, exactly. But then we'll say Trinidad is a hot place.
Yeah, imagine
But there are some places that are much hotter than Trinidad. Even if you look at in India, there are places in India, there are guys who used to sit, and these are friends of mine who told me this, that they will sit for hours to see a leaf shake, And they'll make bet on who will see the first leaf shake. Because there was no breeze and it's super hot. And that there's nothing you could do. But we don't live in that sort of environment, but we have to always remember when something is said in one country, it's based on what is happening there and then. And you have to learn how to adapt that to your circumstance. And many a times we don't think about that. We don't think about time change. We don't think about climate. We don't think about all these things. We think that exactly what is happening in one country will happen with you based on proximity. The prophets of doom and gloom will tell you, what happening in Venezuela will happen here. No, I'm not saying that it can't happen here, but I don't think we have the same sort of government and the same sort of system that will cause it to happen here. But of course, the prophet of doom and gloom will tell you that. And I remember in the 70s, my dad had this friend who was heavily involved in politics and whatnot. And he told my dad, he said, if you have any money or anything here, get it out of the country, because this country becoming a communist country. And of course, my father would always tell us things, he would share things like that with us. And as a young man, when you hear the word communism, you're thinking about death and a family separated. And we had no idea what communism was about, except what we saw in the movies. And whatever is portrayed in the movies is not reality. So we were told that. And you're like, wow, if we become communist, boy. And then if you question it and you say, well, how Trinidad will become a communist country? Well, Cuba right there.
that's so true. Venezuela was more or less communist also.
Socialist. Yeah. So, but based on proximity, we were told that. And it created a fear in you. So that's what the point I'm trying to make is that sometimes we hear things and we want to adopt it into our environment and it doesn't fit. There's no it fits. It just doesn't fit. But again, being fickle-minded, and we have a lot of fickle-minded individuals out there who will think that, it is possible, based on what's happening, that we're going to go down that way. But I was never a pessimistic individual. I'm very optimistic about anything. I will see a glass half full as opposed to being half empty. I would always see the good in everything, in people also. I don't ever look at a person and say, he looked like a bandit, but he must be a bandit. I don't do that. But of course, in this day and age, you have to be guarded in everything. And I will tell you, if a man approaching me with a suit, I will be as guarded as if he approaching me with a pants hanging off his bottom. Because you don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's how it is now.
Yeah, because criminality can come in any form and fashion. So, when you're dealing with things of that nature, society, you will understand that there are many changes that takes place. So when I got involved in it, I was thinking along the lines, and the mandate that I gave to myself is that I must change the way we think about things of a sexual nature. How Trinidadians and Tobagonians think about things of a sexual nature, and by extension the Caribbean. Now my aim was never to reach the entire Caribbean when I started off. It was to deal with Trinidad and by extension Tobago. So I started my clinic, I started doing little things. I opened the first adult store in Port of Spain. The first adult store in Trinidad, I had it. It was called Behind the Green Door on Arpita Avenue, before Arpita Avenue was the avenue. And I had a small clinic, and I used to do different things. And of course, everything gelled and came into one later on in life. But with that, I got the opportunity to be on radio. And you wouldn't believe, I was called to advertise on a sex program, you know. I was never called to and asked to come on a sex program. And when the person asked me that, her name was Melissa Sohan, they had a sex program they were planning a sex program for Power 102. And they called me and asked me to advertise on the program. And my question to her was, who's going to be talking about sex? She said, well, they're looking for people to talk about sex and whatnot. And I was like, I would not want to advertise on a program that somebody makes a mockery of sex. And she was like, what do you mean? I said, well, people take sex to be a joke. They take the word sex to be a joke. They take talking about sex to be a joke. And I've seen it many times. Up to this day, when you mention the word sex, you see some people snicker. They go, hee, like a little girl. Big men. There are some persons who their facial expression changes. Sometimes you see the discomfort in them. So I had to deal with that. And then she told me, she said, I'll get back to you. So I said, no problem. About 2 hours after, she called me and she said, remember that question you asked me about the program and whatnot? She said, well, what do you know about sex and whatnot? I said, well, why did you call me in the first place? Obviously, you know I'm involved in sex in some form or fashion. I said, but my thing is sex education and deal with things of a sexual nature, persons who have sexual dysfunction and whatnot. So then she said, would you like to come to a meeting? I said, a meeting for what? She said, well, to discuss the program and advertising on the program and whatnot. I said, no problem. And she made the appointment, and I came and I saw Marcel Mahabir and Ingrid Isaac. First Marcel Mahabir, and we were in discussion about the program and setting up the program. Now, this wasn't my program, this was a program for Power 102. But I was just giving them some guidelines and some assistance. And I saw a bulb go off in his head. And he said, I'd like you to meet someone. And he introduced me to Ingrid Isaac upstairs. And there we were discussing it, and suddenly she turned to me and she said, I have a proposition for you. And I said, what? She said, I would like you to do the program. I said, what? No, I did radio before with Lucy Arthur. I don't know if you remember Lucy Arthur. Yeah.
I know the name, I don't know the person.
Yeah. I used to do program with Lucy Arthur. I think it was AM 7:30 or one of them. I can't remember, either 6:10 or 7:30, one of them. And that's a long time ago. And then I did a television program, which I was reminded of recently.
I remember that.
In Shape. And I had no intention of being on the radio. But here I was given an offer. And I was like, let me think about it. So while we think about it, let's take a break.
In the meantime, Raj, the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots are batting at 110 for 2 after, well, this is the last ball of the 15th over, so after 16 overs, 110 for 2, gain is on 76, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're listening to Power 102. The Weekend Pass returns to Power 102. Yes, your end-of-week access to fun, dancing, and a great line is coming to you. Every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. at the most popular sports bars and after-work liming spots across TNT. Gayland and the Ultimate DJ Shane are working with giveaways, competitions, and great music.
Yours truly, Gayland, the Ultimate DJ Shane.
This week we head to Caps Premium, Picton Street, and the Eastern Main Road to Napuda. Also look out for the eating competition Compliments Mario's this Friday. So get ready. The Weekend Pass. The Weekend Pass. Every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. We're in your area and on Power 102. Empowering you. Start your weekends with Sir Charles and Calypso Classics. Saturday mornings, 7 to 9 a.m. Calypso Classics. Enjoy classics from all the greats of Calypso: Sparrow, Stalin, Kitchener, Rodder, Shadow, Calypso Rose, and many more Calypso classics with Sir Charles. All the Calypso greats, Saturday mornings, 7 to 9 a.m. and only on Power 102. The power of Calypso.
Indian Style Expo from August 9th to 20th, located in Makoya at the Big White Tent opposite Center of Excellence. Brand new goods with the latest variety of ready-made garments, handicraft, footwear, jewelry, and many more. This is your only chance to visit Indian Style Expo. All new containers, comfortable ambience and ample parking, Indian restaurants and refreshments, links and credit card accepted. When it comes to Indian Expo, this is where you have to be. Rated the most popular Indian Expo, Indian Style Expo.
Lift up your head and hold it up high.
The grand finale for summer 2018.
Island Fusion, the concert, independent.
Island Fusion, let me now tell man the concert. Yes, Everton Blender will be here August 31st.
Island Fusion, the concert, the velvet voice of Everton Blender. A night to represent life, love, music, strength, and unity. Independence Night, the grand finale for summer 2018. Island Fusion, the concert, Everton Blender.
Hi, Amita.
Celebrate the music. Christopher Martin, Marcia Griffiths, Morgan Heritage, Everton Blender, Romaine Virgo, Ja Melody, TNT Superstars, Ultimate Rejects, Pretty, Azaria, limited general tickets $300.
Special reserve $500.
Available at Cache stores nationwide.
In Excess Arima,
Cleves, Frederick Street,
Rennie's, High Street, San Fernando, Larry Chagones, Bobby's Bar, Curette.
and all MLCB outlets nationwide.
Munchkins ice cream, Munchkins ice cream. You want a tasty creamy treat. Munchkins ice cream, Munchkins good for one. Delicious. Better bite. I want some. It's best when we in a line with me and with you. Come on. Munchkins ice cream, Munchkins ice cream. So tasty, so creamy. Munchkins ice cream.
Munchkins, gotta have it today.
This is Power 102, empowering you.
And this is Sexplosion, Thursday's edition from 7 to 9 with Dr. Raj. Yeah, Doc.
So we at the Adult Therapy Center deal with all sexual matters, every single thing. Person who have addiction to porn, addiction to masturbation, male and female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your sex, gender, sexuality. It doesn't matter what issues you may have. We deal with it at the Adult Therapy and Center. And some persons may ask, what is the main thing that persons come for? But you can't just pinpoint one thing. I know what is the number one question that is always asked on this program. How do I get my penis bigger? We deal with that also. We have programs for that. I remember some guys, when I was in university, came up with this thing called the FAMOS program for penis enhancement, and I bought it from them for a few $100s. And because I bought it from them, it was the rights. I have the rights for it. I was part of the whole thing to get it going, and I buy out the other guys. And in them days, you could buy out something for $100. That is in those days. I remember one guy buying out a famous cigar called Gurkha for a few $100s, and now it's $1 million business, multi-million-dollar business. Not a million. They make one cigar for 500,000 US. So
What does that cigar do?
just to smoke. That's all it is. But there are guys who will pay that.
Yeah.
A dollar for a man who is in poverty is worth plenty money, and a dollar for a man who makes 100,000 a year is nothing,
It's so true.
So the value of money depends on the individual who is holding it. So I have I've always found myself in the ideal place. I see somebody ask a question about porn stars. I've been hanging out with porn stars ever since. I used to go and line with them. And I had a good friend called, at that time, called Robin Cort, C-O-R-T. And him and I, we used to hang out at all the strip joints and whatnot, but we never used to hang out at the strip joint to go and watch striptease. We would hang out at the strip joint for when the porn stars came. He was actually living opposite one of the #1 porn, Pink Pussycat porn place, studio. And his loft was overlooking the backyard of Pink Pussycat, so we could see everything that goes on in the back. So when they were taking a break from the stage and whatnot, they would come outside in the open area. Well, there was little places to sit and whatnot, and we'll see everything that they were doing. And we would make friends with them, talk with them we were actually looking down at them. And many times we will go out with them. I remember going to Miami Sequarium with 2 porn stars, Serena and Seka. Could you imagine a 17-year-old, 18-year-old going to Miami Sequarium with 2 porn stars that people were recognizing?
That's exuberant kind of
But what I'm telling you is that it was no big deal for me. When Annette Haven came, I'm talking when Annette Haven was in her heydays. She actually came over to the apartment and hung out with us.
Wasn't that provocation to the max?
Yes, it was. We hung out with John Holmes. We went for dinner with John Holmes. Oh, he was a character. That is a man who was a character. He was something else. I could tell you stories that will, sometimes I wonder if it is real. And later on in life, we actually, in the 80s and whatnot, all the porn stars of the 80s, we were friends with them. As a matter of fact, I could have gotten any one of them to come to Trinidad. Just recently, I was in Las Vegas and I was walking through the lobby of a hotel, Hard Rock Hotel and Cafe. And there's this guy coming with bodyguards all around him, and I'm walking up straight to them. So the bodyguards are trying to push me aside, and I'm just looking him in his eyes, and I say, "How are you going?" He said, "That's my friend." He stopped them, and he stopped to talk to me, and they were like, "No, we have to get to this place. He said, "No, this is my friend. This is Dr Raj. I have to talk to him." And we stood and we talked, and this is the man that people were like rushing to him to get the autograph, Ron Jeremy. This is the great Ron Jeremy who started porn at the age of 19 in 1970. What years was it? 77 or 76? And everybody was like, okay, who is this guy talking to them? But it was ordinary. It was nothing. I've had dinner with him. I have photographs with us having dinner and whatnot. And I'm talking about when you're able to do those things. Now I don't even know their porn star's name. I don't care. Been there, done that. Sometimes somebody will ask me about a porn star. I'm like, I don't know that person. But no, I may have met the person, you know. Don't get me wrong. Because I go to all the events that there are all over the world. I'm invited to everything. And I may meet a porn star, what they call a talent. But I don't know who you are. And I don't care to know who you are. I don't want an autograph. I don't want anything. We will talk. We'll hang out. After party lime and whatnot, they'll have limes and whatnot, and I'm invited to all. But I really don't know who they are. So sometimes somebody will be asking me about someone now who's of this era, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. And when they show me, yeah. I met that person. She was in Miami 2 weeks ago, and they're like, okay, which is true. And I have bought porn stars and persons in the industry to Trinidad for close to 15 years. I have had shows with them. I've had them live on this program here. They have been in the studio. They have used this table already for nefarious actions. And, I have been there, done that. But that is the entertainment part of it. But the professional part of it is what I'm interested in. The professional part of it is more important to me than anything else. That part is just the peripherals. So I deal with the real hardcore stuff, where we actually deal with persons in Trinidad and Tobago, and not only in Trinidad and Tobago. And because of my love for cricket, what it has done for me, it has made me well known in the cricket fraternity throughout the world. I've had cricketers come here from, I wouldn't call it countries, but from far, far away, who would actually come to my clinic, and they said they heard it from another cricketer. And they will want advice and they will want help and whatnot. In different things. And it doesn't have to be exactly what people are thinking, because we deal with many different things. Be it erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation. And premature ejaculation is the #1 issue all over the world.
Right.
Men who ejaculate faster than they should, they're not able to satisfy their partner. I've had females also come from all over. This program is, and the popularity of Power 102 has taken this program and information to North America, Europe. I've had listeners in Africa. And I've had persons contact me from these places also for help. And I've done consultation through Skype with persons all over. But I'm the only qualified sexologist in the Caribbean who has taken the role of being a sexologist and the route that no one else has taken. So I am unique in that sense. The same thing with North America. I have had offers. I actually was a consultant at a clinic in North America for many years. Many years. Because of what I could do. I don't do it the ordinary way. I don't do it the medical way. I do things differently.
I was about to ask you that if how you call your place?
Total Image Adult Therapy Center.
Yes, that adult therapy center. I was wondering if it looked like a medical facility.
No, it's not. No.
What should one expect in coming to your place?
In terms of look?
Kind of an office-like thing?
Well, it's set up like our office. It's I will tell them if you want to know what it looked like, come. There's ample parking. There's discretionary parking at the back of the building. There's parking for at least 25 vehicles on the compound. So you don't have to park. You don't have to park on the road. I can tell you that. It's on a back street, meaning that it's a street that is between the bus route and the highway. Everyone knows the street because they use it as a shortcut. But they don't know the name of the street, and it's called Camody Street. It's a very short street. There's only eight buildings on the street. Camody Street in St. Augustine. They know it as the shortcut. Right. When you want to get away from UE traffic, you pass through that street.
Oh, I think I know that street.
Yeah, it's on the eastern side of UE, where the UE chaplaincy is at the corner, and the big salmon tree on the road.
Oh yes.
If you don't know it, you don't.
What's the name of the street?
Camody Street. There's no sign.
Okay.
So don't look for a sign.
No, well, that's why I'm saying.
They have never put up a sign.
Knew it as name the street.
Yeah, Camody Street. That's the name of that street.
Really?
Actually, it's Camody Road.
Okay.
It's not a street. It's called Camody Road. That's the official name. And we're the middle building on that street on the southern side. So, but the entrance street is a wide entrance. A truck could drive in there easily. As a matter of fact, I have patients who drive trucks. And they will come. They will come for many different reasons. Some persons will come with their spouse. They will come with their partner. Some persons, their spouse or partner will force them to come. But what we do is, of course, we're very confidential and discreet. And that's one thing I pride myself on, because we've been doing this for donkey years. And one of the things that we have maintained is that discretionary way of dealing with our clients. I have a very good staff. My staff is very, very good. They are capable. They're knowledgeable because I train them. Those who work at the front of, it's an adult store also. You can come there and get all your toys, or anything that you want to spice up your sex life, we have it. Or anything that you need to get, we can get it for you.
Including porn?
Anything, of course. Of course. Yeah. Including porn. Anything that you can think about, we can get it. Once it's out there, we can get it. There's no two ways about that. I don't have anything to prove when it comes to that. I have done it, been there. There's so little for me to prove that there's no challenge anymore.
Does anybody come to you with problems or complaints that you had to refer to the medical doctor?
Of course. I work very closely with a number of medical doctors, a number of psychiatrists, a number of hypnosis. I work closely with them. I have had persons who come to me and I can't handle that situation because it is deeply rooted in something else, and I will refer them to someone else. And I've had medical doctors refer their patients to me. At first, when I started off, I'll tell you, I got a lot of flack from the medical fraternity, some doctors in the medical fraternity. And one of my pride and joy is one of the doctors who stood up against me when I first came out. I have a prescription from him where he actually recommended one of his patients to come to me with his signature on it. And when he started making comments about me when I first started off, and I mean, I was a threat. I'm still a threat to those who maybe in the field of dealing with sexual dysfunction and whatnot, in a medical way. And when he started I think he started off with it on television. And I had reporters call me and ask me, they told me, Dr. So-and-so has said so-and-so about you. And I said, well, he's a doctor, he knows what he's saying. They said, don't you have a comment to make? I said, no, absolutely none. And eventually we became good friends. Because I wouldn't stand up to if you're challenging me, no problem. If you have something to say about me, no problem. Just make sure what you're saying is the truth, because I know if the truth will prevail, you know.
Yeah.
The truth will prevail. Now, I've had persons try to impersonate me. I've had persons come and sit in front of me, ask me questions, take down notes and whatnot, and go and pretend they're me, or set up a clinic also. I've had that. So everything that you can think about, even a character that, you know, lately he was in the news. He used to have a program here also. He used to have a guy by him, a East Indian guy by him, and telling people that this is Dr. Raj.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you. But I always remember that they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Anytime somebody is trying to imitate you, anytime somebody is trying to be like you, they're flattering you.
Exactly.
But I will always tell persons, I've had persons call me up and say, you know, Dr. Raj, when you visited me home the other day, I say, I visit you home? I say, I have a clinic, Miss Lady. I wouldn't come home by you.
Right.
I say, whoever came home by you and told you that they were Dr. Raj, did you ask them to see their ID card? I say, and Dr. Raj is my profession, yes. Raj is my calling name. Everybody knows me as Raj, but my proper name is Giriraj Ramnanan. And if they don't show you an ID card with Giriraj Ramnanan on it, then it's not me. And if the person came with a vehicle, take down the number. You remember Anskranta said, take the number?
Take the number.
Take the number.
And I mean, what a way to go just to con people.
Oh, they still have persons doing that.
Of course, yeah.
Recently, someone called me up and said, there's this guy selling a product. And he said that he's from your office and I recommend that the person use it. I said, well, I never said that. I say, have you ever heard me talk about that on the radio? I say, those who are foolish enough to buy something and whatnot and think it's but you know, it's always after the fact that they will call you. One guy called in a smart way. He called from San Fernando. Dr. Raj, you have a guy. He said, the guy said he's your brother and he's selling a product. You know anything about the product? Well, obviously he bought the product, eh? So he called the name of the product and I said, no, I don't know anything. And I did know about it, but I told him, no, I don't know anything about that product. I said, did you buy it? He said, no, I just want to find out. But of course he bought it, and it maybe didn't work the way the person telling me that it was going to work.
Yeah.
So now he's calling me to get my advice. I will not give you advice. Then you're using me.
That's right.
And many a times persons look for shortcut in everything that they're doing. They look for shortcut in everything that they don't want to do it the proper way. But when someone comes to the clinic, like I had a gentleman come to the clinic recently and he had an ailment 27 years now. 27 years. And although he went to have it treated, the steps to have it treated was never done. the steps prior to having it treated was never done. And I told him, I said, I will not put the cart before the horse. It has to be done in a special way, in a particular way, particular way. And if you're not willing to go down the road of that particular way, I can't help you. It must be done that way. I'm not going to give you a shortcut. I have had persons come by me and say, you know, doc, I'm going to put on work this weekend, or I'm going to put on work tonight. Give me something good now. I said, no, I don't have anything good. He said, but you see, man, you must have something good. I said, no, I don't have anything. You think I'm going to sell my reputation for $100? Because if I sell you a tablet, let's say for $100, just using a figure, and you go and use that tablet and it doesn't work, the first thing you're going to tell everybody out there is, Dr. Raj don't know his stuff yet.
Yes.
Not that I have a problem and it ain't working.
Colloquially, they say, you know what you do.
You know what you're doing. Yeah. That's exactly what they'll say.
Yeah.
So I tell him, I prefer you keep your money in your pocket, and when you're ready for proper treatment, you come and see me. Right. Do not look for no shortcut. I am not going to give you a shortcut. I don't provide shortcuts. Because I know too many times individuals look for shortcut, right? And they themselves have a serious problem, and they don't tell you everything. I've had persons come with me with this strict belief that somebody did them obia. I've had persons come with me where they need spiritual help also. And yes, I work with persons who could help them with that. And I direct them to them. Because in sexology, you will understand that because sex is of the mind, and because it starts in the mind, the brain, if you strongly believe someone has done evil to you, it's going to affect you sexually.
Of course.
So you can't discount anything that somebody tells you. You cannot discount that. I've had a woman who had a tumultuous relationship with a guy, and he cuffed her in her belly, and she doubled over, because you know when somebody knock out your wind, they just double over. But if you have never had that done, you will swear you're going to die. Eh?
Yes.
You'll swear you're going to die when somebody cuff you in your solar plexus, and you can't breathe in. You know that. I've had that done many times, playing sports and all them kind of things. If a man kick a ball and that hit you there, you doubling over, you swear you're going to die.
Yes,
You see the angels calling you, trumpets blaring. So she said she doubled over and whatnot, and she said since that, she always have painful period, but it's in her mind. A lash to your solar plexus will not cause that. But after asking her certain questions and going through things with her and whatnot, I realized that it was all made up in her mind, and she relates everything that is happening to her in her vagina and stomach area or womb area to that cough she got in her solar plexus. When it had nothing to do, one has nothing to do with the other. And she will actually believe that she's in severe pain when she's not. So you see the power of the mind. I've had persons who have been married and did not consummate their marriage. And I actually have to show them what to do. I've had persons who couldn't be penetrated and come by me to learn how to be penetrated. That's women. So I've dealt with everything. I've had guys who have something called phimosis, which is a tearing and cracking of the foreskin of the penis, and my wife has come up with a cure for that. When you go to a doctor, they will tell you to circumcise. I've treated close to 100 persons, men in Trinidad with phimosis, who don't need to circumcise anymore. It's unbelievable. But she did her research. She does a lot of research and whatnot, and she came up with a formula. Of course, everything is tried and tested at the clinic, and we found that when we were administering this cure to individuals, it worked. It takes a little while, but it works. So when you have a clinic like that, where it's interactive with your clients, I have today what guy was telling me, say, I just like to come and talk to you because you always smiling. I said, well, if you go to a doctor and your doctor frowning and whatnot, and your doctor looking like he has more worries than you go have any confidence in him?
It's true. You're more skilled than anything else.
And I have gone to doctors already where they wouldn't even smile and talk to you. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone by being serious. Now, I'm not comical or jovial as I am on radio, because radio is entertainment. But when you come to my office, you're sure you're going to get a smile, you're sure you're going to get a pleasantry, you're sure you're going to get somebody to discuss something that will be in your interest. You know?
Yeah.
I was one of my patients, they were surprised that I could have tell him about him fixing heavy equipment, and he was like, how you do that? But of course, I may not do it physically, but I'm aware of it because I have cousins and things who just do it. And when they go to do it, I will watch what they're doing. So I was able to tell him that you are mentally and physically tired because you have to come with a solution. If you're doing laborious work, for example, and I tell you break a nut on a wheel, it will take no genius to do that.
Exactly.
But if your wheel is bent and a man have to fix it now, he have to come up with a way to do that. So he using his brain and his brawn. So there's a difference. And like everything else in life, those are the things that affect you. The stress that you go through. The things that affect you negatively in your relationship. The way you interact with your spouse, your partner. Those are all factors. I've had guys come and tell me that they're having issues with their relationship. And when you dig deeply into it, it is a relationship that may be an interracial relationship, and you realize where the problem is coming from. It may be a relationship that involves two different religions, and you realize where the problem is coming from, where it's manifesting because of the religion before the interracial type relationship. And you have to work them through the relationship, and sometimes you see there's no solution. Sometimes you yourself see that there's no solution here. Tell them, I don't have people wasting their time and money. I wouldn't tell you to come back by me if there's nothing that I could do, because it doesn't make sense. I will try to guide you as to where you should go, but then it's entirely up to you. It's like leading the horse to the water. I could lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. It's the same thing when I tell somebody, look, you need to get more rest, more sleep. I think I have to start advising myself that, because I'm not getting enough sleep.
I have to try. And they keep bringing these sporting events. Last night
I don't know why the hell they're doing that.
I stayed up looking at 2 and 20 games. When I checked the time, 3 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
I said they will take the television off and go and sleep. You know.
They're wicked.
Yeah.
No, they're wicked to us. They're really wicked.
And that's after the IPL
Yeah.
and the
CPL. No, they're wicked. They're really wicked. It has some wicked people out there. I sometimes go to sleep after 12, 1, 2, and I get up early, go and work out.
I tell you, at 3 o'clock this morning, I said, no.
So my wife is telling me, she said, you need to get more sleep. And I'm like, yeah, I know, you know what.
Sure, but that's with me.
I say, I know, you know what. Oh, my God. And I actually went to I go to a medical doctor. I'm not the kind of doctor that's not going to go to a doctor and feel like it's self-diagnosed. I don't self-diagnose, especially. I try to figure out what's wrong, but I don't self-diagnose.
So what can someone expect? Okay, let's say somebody has a problem that needs some kind of physical therapy.
Oh, there are many different types of therapy. There are therapy that involves a therapist. There are therapy that involves things that you should do at home with your spouse, your partner. There are therapy that involves things that you should do or exercises that you should do on your own. There are treatment that involves medication. Well, not medication, supplementation. We don't use medication. We don't use drugs, except for if you need to get treatment based on injections. Other than that, we try to use as much natural products as possible so that you don't become dependent on anything. But most individuals, their problem stems from circulation. Their problem is stem from diabetes and hypertension. Some individuals have problems with cholesterol. We try to find the root cause of your problem each time that you come to the adult therapy center. Once we find the root cause of your problem, we are able to treat you properly. I've had the good fortune of going to one of the biggest porn show in the world is called the AVN, the Adult Video News Awards. At the AVN, there's something called the B2B, where the only persons like myself, who are qualified like myself, could go to that. The ordinary public cannot go to it. And at the B2B, there was this little lady in her 60s, 50s, 60s. This was about 25 years ago. Selling a product, and no one was taking her on. So I went up to her and started talking to her, and I asked her about the products, and she told me about the product, and I said, I'll come back and talk to you. And I'd made my rounds and went through, and I mean, to make your rounds at the AVN, it will take you an entire day. It takes you an entire day. Massive. Boots upon boots and lanes upon lanes. So the next day I went to her, and I went early and I went directly to her, and we started to talk, and then I said, I will try your product. Because if what you tell me is true, I will try your product. And I tried her product, and we became friends from that time till now. And she makes formulas for me. Sometimes I call her and ask her about protocols for treatment because she's well versed. And her background from creating these formulas came from her father being the local witch doctor in her village, where she came from in the Philippines. And he was blind. And she, as a little girl, had to mix the formula for her grandfather. But that's where it came from. And she's 76 years of age. She drives a Lamborghini. She drives a Lamborghini. And we're best of friends. Very nice lady. And I can call her up on issues, on things that are happening to my patients and others. And that is not only her. There was a guy who started off making supplements about another 25, 30 years ago. And I found his warehouse in a little alleyway, a little small warehouse with a desk and some boxes packed up and whatnot. And I started dealing with him. And after the years of dealing with him, I noticed that sometimes when I go there, we'll sit and talk and whatnot. And then after a while, he'll say, let's go for dinner. I'm like, he is asking me to go for dinner? No. His company became a super millionaire company. It's one of the biggest companies now in the US for that. I'm like, why? So sometimes he'll say, let's go for dinner. And after dinner, we'll go for a massage. So I say, no problem. I like my massages anywhere in the world that I go, and we'll go on. And then one day I say, Ralph, how come every time you ask, he said, let me tell you something, every time I talk to you, I come up with a new product, you know. He said, you just give me ideas like that, you know. I said, well, that's what I'm here for. And to this day, he has the biggest company. I could go in there anytime to get, if I want one bottle of something, I get, and if I want 100 bottles, I get.
So these are supplements?
Supplements for...
Were extracted from
natural things, all natural. All natural. All natural. And they spend thousands of dollars in research and development to create these products. It's not fly-by-night products. It's not products that, you know, that it's synthetic. Somebody make it in a lab. I also have contact with persons who make synthetic products and things, but I'm not too happy with those things. And over the years, some of the best supplements company in the world. I remember meeting Ben and Joe Weider. Ben and Joe Weider in 1988 in Atlanta. You know. I was the agent for Weider Products in Trinidad at one time. But those are the connections that you make as you go through life. It's just that I got out of the bodybuilding field and the sporting field and whatnot and never pursued that. And I still have my connection with these people. I met Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I mean, that was my hero in bodybuilding. Tom Platz, Mr. Legs himself, 32 inches of leg. One leg, So, but you always maintain that through the years. And there's always, even now when you go to these shows, the B2B shows, you will see these guys there. You'll see persons who are inventing product or dealing with product or making something, and they have it for a number of years, and I still carry those products. And persons will tell you, boy, I have a particular product, for example, that was made by this lady. That's the product who I told her I will try that product. To this day, it's the #1 selling product that I have. You can't get it at any pharmacy. It's not sold to pharmacies. You could only get it at the clinic. And there are men who swear by it. And I tell all businessmen, just take one a month. It relieves your stress and it helps you with your sex life. And it's not a drug. It's not going to send you to the hospital. It's not going to put you,
No side effect.
reach your heart rate and whatnot. No detrimental side effect. The side effect that you get is you'll like it. Nice stiff erection.
We'll continue on the other side of these people. Stick and stay. Sexplosion, Thursday.
The Weekend Pass returns to Power 102. Yes, your end-of-week access to fun, dancing, and a great line is coming to you.
901, the reply. Warriors.
Who out?
From 7 to 9 p.m. at the most popular sports bars and after-work lining spots across TNT, Gayland, and the Ultimate DJ Show are working with giveaways, competitions, and great music.
Clean bowl?
Yeah, clean bowl, but I don't think you want that. The guy is salute.
Cottrell.
Cottrell, like the same salute.
And you have a sharp salute.
Yeah, man, I was just over there.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, the clean bowl, I like stuff like it. The man was even there.
I've left this so long.
Yeah,
Invite everyone to join me every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m.
Because I come from CSL with the road.
Programs, gospel music.
No, the first one was a plumber leader. He out.
Yeah, I tell you.
He was out.
He was out. So we joke.
They give him a chance. They say, oh God, you can't go and give Gila out so fast. Now he was out.
He was out, yes.
After that, I still let me head up the road. That was Plum could be that middle stump, yeah?
Don't mistake.
That was middle stump.
Yeah, I tell you.
Goods with the latest variety of ready-made garments, handicrafts, footwear, jewelry, and many more. This is your only chance to visit Indian Style Expo. All new containers, comfortable ambience,
Popularity increasing.
Indian restaurants and refreshments. Rates and credit card accepted. When it comes to Indian Expo, this is
Well, that's good.
to be
Yeah, that we think about. That the damn thing self. One of the first things I teach my radio is once your love full of commercial. It's happening.
Come and celebrate music, love, and life with me at Island Fusion, the concert.
Jean Pierre Complex, the best of Trinidad and the stars of Jamaica. Celebrate love
With Christopher Martin. The concert to end the summer of 2018.
Louis going through a bad patch, boy.
Yeah, boy. Oh, gosh. It's all the time I took the ticket to it. I took them in 108. Next week.
Romaine Virgo.
Next week. 9 for 2 though.
Cottrell again?
Huh?
Cottrell again?
Nah. I gotta keep on Pakistan.
TNT Superstars.
Prime and the
What's that? The nice about it? I think it was so cool, so can't open it. 50, 75
stores nationwide.
Start time, man. Duck one. I tell you, coach, I'm going to
Yeah.
NLCB outlets
You was going through that?
Yeah, you're going through a bad patch.
A real bad patch, boy.
Are the problems and destructive anxieties?
That's when you have to go back in the nets, you know,
Yeah, you have to go back
and
in
hone
there.
back your skills.
Yeah, you have to start to come back down to the ground. Forget all the beginnings you play and start back from scratch in the net.
Footwork.
Footwork and things.
First thing you have to learn footwork.
I'm telling you, I used to play plenty table tennis. I used to have me plenty. And I always play men who well good. They were top spin and all kinds of things. I used to get
Reflect.
sight.
Reflect.
Yeah.
Sight and reflect.
Anytime I have problem, I find like I use a patch, I used to go to the club. Pick up my tennis racket and run. Tell them I come to play some tennis. And wait until I see good men come. I was kind of good, but that man was really good. And the tennis man I want to play for my battle. When I go back on this job, you know, I always go to that way. I don't think about it is now. It's CPL. I think when they crashing so, your business crashing too, you know.
You got a big money.
I'm telling you, the kind of side watching it. I listen, 50, 100, this, that, and the other. Listen, keep it
We want it.
Yeah, Sexplosion on a Thursday evening, just in case you know, finding out 7 to 9 with Dr. Raj and me. Dr. Raj, tell me something. Normal fellas could come to your therapy center and say, I just need a sort of maintenance supplementation.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the things that I always advise persons to do. Don't wait till something go bad. When you buy a car, I always use a car as an analogy, because a car is designed after the functioning of a human being.
Yes.
Right? When you buy a car, if after your first oil change, you don't change oil, and if after your first tune-up, you don't tune it up, you're in trouble. You know? So it's the same thing with a man or a woman. If you don't take care of your sexual health, it's going to go bad later on. So your maintenance is also very important. The things that you take, for example, the kind of foods that we eat causes us to get high cholesterol, right? I'm not condemning the food, but what I'm telling you is if you are prone to eating things that are going to give you high levels of cholesterol, take something to clean your arteries. We have an artery cleanser also. You have an artery cleanser, you clean your artery. So you don't have to worry about high cholesterol. So there are things that you can do that will keep you healthy, that will keep you functioning. One of the things that are happening with a lot of men today, young boys and men, and I say boys, they go to the pharmacy to buy a product to have sex.
Yeah, I know that for sure.
And that's not something you should be doing. If you're young and healthy, you don't need a product for sex. You need to have the mind for it. And a lot of time we're not fine-tuning our mind.
Part of that Kama Sutra book that I told you I read dealt in particular, I think an entire chapter was about that.
Yeah.
How you should, your behavioral patterns while having sex.
Behavioral pattern, breathing.
Yeah.
Of course, it dealt with that. It is, and why did it deal with it? Because it is important. It is recognized that those things are important for you to function properly. There are many ways for you to satisfy a woman. There's many ways for a woman to satisfy a man. But do you put it into practice when you're actually making love? What do you do? How do you go about doing it? How do you put those things into practice so that it enhances you as a person, enhances your relationship? Many a times, women will come, they're going through menopause, and to find out what to do now. But prior to going through menopause, premenopausal, you could have come and find out also. But sometimes they may not know. Yeah. So I don't hold it against them. Excuse me. Or during menopause, they would want something. Or after they've gone through menopause, you need something. Because your libido will drop. Libido is a sex drive. There will be dryness of the vagina. There could be tearing of the vaginal walls. So you need to use something to counteract those things. Now, there are some individuals who will say, well, at what age should I stop having sex? Very good question. What age do you want to stop having sex? That's the answer. If you tell me you want to stop having sex because you have reached 60 years of age and you want to renounce sex and start following your religion or whatever, by all means, go ahead and do that. But if you don't want to renounce sex and you want to live and have a healthy sex life, you will not be able to have sex every 2 days or whatever, but you may be able to have good sex once a month. So you have to keep yourself fine-tuned all the time. We live in a very stressful society.
Yes, you do.
We also live in an environment that is what you call a petrochemical environment. All those diesel vehicles that are driving up and down the highway and you sitting in traffic, don't feel you're not breathing that fumes.
Exactly. AC or not.
AC or not, that doesn't protect you. No car is totally sealed.
That's right.
Right? When you walk and you're going to take a maxi and you're walking through the maxi line or walk down the maxi line, you're breathing the fumes from the maxi because they don't switch off and switch on, you know.
No, they keep running.
They keep running. Yeah. So you have all these fumes coming on to you. So what do you do? What do you do? You have to counteract those things And when you counteract those things, you are able to say, well, right, here I am, much better equipped to do things. And you need to be better equipped to do things. So you know how healthy you feel. You know what you should do. Like I told the guy, I said, if you come here and you see me looking sickly, you go take advice from me.
Absolutely.
If you come here and see me looking a particular way, you would say, well, wait a minute. This is the person who telling me so and so. No, you have to have confidence in the individual that you're going to. So you have to create that image with yourself. You have to do that. You have to project what you are and who you are. Like I used to tell my bodybuilders, I say, you're the only sportsman that wears your sports, you know. If you're a table tennis player, you have to have a racket in your hand for somebody to know that.
That's true.
If you're a cricketer, you have to have a bat or pads or ball in your hand to recognize that. A footballer, you have to have on your cleats and walk with a ball. But a bodybuilder walks with his sports all the time.
Yes, it's so true.
So you have to maintain that. So if you going down, if somebody see you as a bodybuilder, stand up eating fried foods, whatever, if I want to pinpoint one, what would somebody think about you? That you really don't care about your health? Or they see you smoking a cigarette, you really don't care about your health. So you have to live that particular way.
Tell me something. If there are some people who like confidentiality to the max. I mean,
we maintain that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time we maintain that. We make sure of that. Because if let's say, for example, you come to see me, and for some reason, let's say you have my card in your wallet or whatever, and you have a curious wife, and she goes and finds the card, and she calls up the clinic and say, I am David McIntyre's wife, and I want to find out why he just come by you. And my answer would be, could you please ask David McIntyre that question?
Yes.
There's no way we can answer that question. I don't even know who you're talking about. We don't have a David McIntyre working here. We don't know who he is. As simple as that. And if you give us a number and say, only reach me by this number, we reach you by that number only.
People ever came to you with problems like, there are some marriages that were set by or arranged by the parents of these young people, and they're not so compatible.
Yeah, I deal with compatibility issues all the time.
Yeah. How you work on that?
Well, you got to remember that when you are with someone, you could grow to love that person, as long as there's understanding and there's not bitterness and animosity. And once you find there are common grounds, I do a lot of counseling. You look for the common grounds and you start working on the common grounds. But I'll tell you, I have had a couple come by me about 3 or 4 years ago, and they came back recently, and the man is cussing the woman and calling she all kind of whore and this and that and the other, and I'm like, okay, now she's with him for all this time. Eh? First time they had issue, they came, dealt with it, told them that they have serious issues and things are not going to go well if they continue the way they are. And here he comes back and he's cussing her and calling she all kind of whore. And my simple thing is, if you continue like that, there's no respect for your partner. So what common grounds you have? None. Now, obviously, if a man is telling a woman those things, eventually she will prove to him that she isn't. And it's the same way if a woman keeps accusing a man of something and he's not doing it, and it's continuous, eventually he's going to prove to you that what you're saying is true. You know?
I tell you, there are people who do that all the time.
Yeah. But that's how the human mind works. We work that way. When we are falsely accused, and continuously, especially by persons who should know better, you go ballistic. And we have to deal with that also. I've had parents bring their young children to me and sitting on a consultation where you try to guide them. I've had young ladies who have found themselves in porn. Have to help them out.
That's a massive job.
It's a massive, massive job that I do.
Yeah.
But I'm up to the challenge. And I love my job because it's different with every single person that comes and sits in front of me. I've had persons who come to me with a challenge in their mind. I'm going to challenge him. I'm going to break him down.
See if it's real.
Yeah. I take the challenge. I've had a young lady come to me and she is going around with this guy who's fooling her. Totally fooling her. He's a con man. And he told her, he said, when I go to, I told her to bring him. Despite the fact that she told me that if he comes here, he will control me. I said, well, bring him. She said, but he told me if I come there, Dr. Raj has nothing. When I finish with Dr. Raj, I mash him up. I might walk out of my office when I'm done with him. Head bow, you know. Actually, as a matter of fact, recently saw me in a function, and when he saw me, the man got so nervous he didn't know what to do, you know. But if you want to play mind games, I could play mind games too. I'm very good at that. I'm not trained in what I do. I'm very observant. Well, some people say macocious. Because I don't miss anything. If I walk in this room, I can tell you everything where it is and whatnot. Because I'm trained that way. And that's part of military training. But I was trained that way. But the psychological part of that is that you look, even when somebody's talking to you, you look at the way they carry themselves, their gestures, the way they sit. When you see two couples come, and one wife sit down and do so, and the husband sit down and do so, well, you know there's separation. You know they don't like one another. You know they're at war. So you look for patterns and you look for certain little things that will tell you what's going on. It will tell you what is real and what is not. You look at eye movements. You look at facial expression. You learn to read those things after a while. So yes, we deal with a plethora of situations.
What about people who have gone and tried these synthetic blue pill, this pill, that pill, and realize that this isn't working for me? How do you flush them out or something?
Well, yes, you have to cleanse them. You've got to do that. As a matter of fact, very soon, within the next month, we have a special cleanser coming that is all natural, made from fruits and berries and whatnot. Take that call.
Good evening.
Oh, hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Oh?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Oh, good afternoon. I have two questions, please.
Yeah, sure.
Two questions I have. The first one is this a fact that some women can lubricate in such a way that if they are standing, it's easy?
Could you repeat that, please?
The question I've asked is that, is it a fact or is it just exaggeration that some women claim that they can lubricate? If they are standing, it can ease out. Is that a fact or an exaggeration? That's one.
That they can lubricate if they're standing?
Yeah.
Of course. A woman can lubricate standing, lying, sitting, jumping, running.
No, I mean in terms of it's oozing down the leg.
Oh, you mean it's oozing down the leg?
Yes, of course.
That's an exaggeration. Or
No, that's not an exaggeration. Some women will do that. They will wet their panties and it will seep through the side.
Second question.
Yeah.
Second question.
Yeah.
What can be done to prevent magma formation in a woman?
Prevent what?
To prevent what? Say that again.
What can a woman do to prevent magma formation?
Negma. What is negma? Negma.
smegma formation in a woman. What can be done to keep
No,
that?
smegma is forming a man, not in a woman.
Okay. All right. What is smegma?
Smegma is the cheese on your cock. Women will have discharge. That's a difference. Women will, sometimes the same lubrication will dry up.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will have a yellowish discharge, or a brownish discharge, or a white discharge. That may be because of an infection. That may be because of natural lubrication. But the vagina is self-cleaning, so that's why it will flush out itself. So if sometime in the panty or the panty shield, which I don't recommend any woman use, you see that because the vagina needs to breathe. The vagina needs to breathe. If you stifle the vagina, you're going to have serious problems.
Jamaican movie that emphasized on that. I can't remember the movie now.
Okay.
Yeah, but
No, but the vagina needs to breathe. It's not supposed to be covered in this piece of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And a panty shield has a piece of plastic that does not allow the vagina to breathe. There are lots of things that women do that are not very good for their own personal hygiene. You know.
And women who are dry even when they
Having intercourse,
getting
it may be that it may be a simple thing as they're not drinking enough water, or it could be that they have an imbalance. So I have to find the root cause of that.
As we continue, people, you can call us in at 222-8255 and 612-8255, right?
So when a woman stifles her vagina by wearing all these girdles and whatnot, or what is the thing that they wear, all these tights and all that, and a panty. Imagine you wearing a tights, a tights, a panty, and a panty shield. What are you doing there? You're stifling the vagina, man. The pH balance is going to change. The scent of the vagina is going to change. Your discharge is going to change. You're going to get an infection of some sort, a STI. But no matter how you tell women that you see commercial, there's fool people bad in. Bad. Women are made to think that the vagina is supposed to smell pretty and nice. When it's not. It's supposed to have its natural flora and natural scent. Take that call.
Good evening. Good.
I feel like you only don't want to talk to me, man.
But you know calling, how you can say that?
About 2 minutes I call him by.
No, you know calling. The light now start to blink.
We've been looking at the phone.
Don't worry, the light is in front of my eyes.
How you going, Raj?
I'm alright, how are you doing?
That's man now.
Yeah, that's you, man.
Yeah. You're quiet, you know. Trying to behave myself.
That hard for you, are you?
Huh?
I say that hard for you.
Of course not. No. I'll tell you something. I hear you say something here tonight, yeah? About somebody made something from you for abroad. And you still have with him. A lady.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you use once a day.
No, I say once a month.
Once a month or once a day or whatever.
No, once a day and once a month is two different things, you know. A month has 28 days, 30 days, or 31 days, you know.
No. To once a month.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I want to ask you is, what do you recommend, or it will be out of my order to ask you that. What do you have for eyes?
What do you see, Dutchman?
For eyes?
In particular?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have anything specific for eyes. But if you have an issue with eyes, we could help you to deal with that and direct you where you should go with that. But there are some vitamins that are specific for eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Bosch and Lomb does something called Ocuvite. Ocuvite plus 50, which is fantastic for your eyes. I'll recommend anybody over 50 years of age to use that. It might be a bit expensive, but it's fantastic for your eyes.
When you say expensive, what do you mean?
Well,
$1,000.
Don't get me into that now.
$5,000, $10,000.
I don't get me into that now. What's the normal price for a bottle of tablets? Think about that. Don't get me into that. I don't deal with price.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Fine.
For some people, it might be expensive. For you, that's when it will be nothing.
It's so true.
Yeah, right? Because he lives in a mansion, according to him.
Yeah.
So it might be nothing for him. But when I tell people that sometimes it might be a bit expensive, it might mean if you are accustomed paying $200 for a bottle of tablet, it might cost you $300. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But for some people, say $300 is nothing for me. And then another person will find it hard to pay $300. That's what I meant. But I'll tell you a simple thing. And you would love this one. Go ahead, let's take that call.
Good evening.
Yeah. I get cut off the thing. But anyway, I would like to know what it costs a bottle. So
I don't sell that. Go to the pharmacy to get that one.
Huh?
I do not sell that product. I said go to the pharmacy to get that.
All right.
And even if I sell a product, I don't know the price of it. Because I personally don't sell it.
Yeah. What's your name again?
Ocuvite.
Ocuvite.
Yeah. All right.
You know, let me give you a good story. And this is a practical story anybody could relate to. If you're an eyeliner, and I want to impress you, as Dr. Raj, I want to show you how much money I have in my pocket. I say, what are you drinking there, boy? I say, well, I drinking Hennessy, you know. What's the bartender? I say, but that in a bottle of Hennessy, man.
Yeah.
2 glass. What are you chasing with? Coconut water. Coconut water.
Yeah.
Bring a bottle of coconut water. We drink, we sit down every 2 hours, we drink with the bottle finish. I'm showing off on you now, man. I could afford this and I could show you this. Because I want to impress you. Bartender say, bartender, where's the bill there? Say $675, man. I dip in my pocket and I do so. And I going home, you going home.
I tell my friends,
Rad, Dr. Raj, that man shell out some money there. We drink Hennessy.
And you see,
Like we drink that, like soft drink. I go and buy the doctor. Doctor fee is $175. Boy, to pay that man $175, boy. The rice so damn expensive, boy. Yeah, but I pay the $175 one. So the doctor tell me, say, what? You need a bottle of tablet here, you need a little thing there. Everything come out to $500. $500?
Yeah.
So much?
Yeah.
So the doctor said, well, yeah, but it's $500, but it's for a whole month. You know, you're taking these tablets over a period of a month.
Yeah. And what it can prevent.
Right, and what it can prevent and how good it's going to be for your health.
$500 if you don't.
Right. But you know that man going to scratch your head and say, boy, me spending no $500 by he looking like you want to rob me.
Yeah.
But you're going in the rum shop and you're shelling out $675, easy to impress your friends. But that same man don't want to spend $500 for his own health.
Exactly.
That's to tell you how corrupt the way we think, how misinformed we are.
Yeah,
Ignorance.
Yes, very.
Now, I'm not saying that you go and just blow money like that, but I will tell you that a man in a rum shop want to impress somebody.
Yeah.
He don't care he don't care if he go home with no money in his pocket. And I've seen people go to the rum shop now or go to bars and gamble out their money on the machine. And leaving there to go home and face their wife without a cent in their pocket, you know. And knowing they work whole week, you know.
Madness. Raj, tell me something. Have you ever had people come into the therapy center who are overweight or obese?
All that.
And the effects of it on probably when men are concerned, their penis and erection, and women and their, you know?
Well, let me give you an example. The penis is connected to something called the pubococcygeal muscle. PC muscle to be sure. The PC muscle is like a hammock in your pelvic area that controls your penis to your anus and everything in between. Your urinating, your ejaculation, your erection and all that. If you have a big heavy gut, if you are grossly overweight, you're putting pressure on the PC muscle, you know. And what that does, normally 1/3 of a man's penis is inside and 2/3 outside. When our weight go on that PC muscle, you know what's going to happen? It pulls the penis inside, you know. It's like a turtle head, you know. We have to deal with that. We have had to deal with shrinkage of penis. We have had to deal with persons who are so overweight, the fat content in their blood is causing blockages and circulation. Erection is nerve and circulation, you know. poor circulation, you're going to have problems. If you have a nervous problem, you're going to have problems. If the nerves are not firing as they should. If the corpora cavernosa and the spongiosum are not working in proper order, you have problems with an erection. Same thing with a woman. If there's not enough circulation down by the vagina, if she has poor hygiene down there and whatnot, it's going to affect her ability to be aroused. So there are many things that affects an individual, and a simple thing like hygiene, you'll be surprised how much that has a negative effect on you, you know. I wish everybody knew that. So then they'll take better care of their penis and their vagina.
Yes.
Wash it out with just simple water. You don't need to use a soap. That's why I tell you, commercialization of things have caused people to spend unnecessary money, you know. Women feel they have to use a special spray in their vagina for it to smell nice, you know. Wasting a set of money by all these places that selling all these products for the vagina.
Side effect, right?
That could have, of course it has serious side effects. Wasting their money, you know. Because my vagina must smell like roses. No, God didn't want it to smell like roses. It mustn't smell bad, but it mustn't smell like roses either. You mustn't spray perfume on your vagina and wash it with soap. The vagina is self-cleaning. Water alone will do. But there are women that believe if they're going by the man, I want to spray up all kind of thing inside there too. And when the man put his tongue, it burn in his tongue. Because she spray perfume on it.
While you're on that note, though, I've been hearing, I've never seen, but I've been hearing about edible undies and stuff.
Oh yeah, they have all that. Edible undies, you have to be careful because anything you insert into the vagina, especially things of a sweet nature, will change the pH balance in your vagina. Make sure you clean it out afterwards. If the man eat out all, make sure you wash it out good. I'm being practical. But the edible undies is like, it's like a plastic panty that you put on and a plastic bra that is edible. It's made from gummy bear material, gummies. So there are many things that it have out there for to spice up your sex life also. There are some persons who totally healthy, but they come to me and they want, what can they do different with their bedroom or with their partner to spice up their sex life. I've had, as a matter of fact, last night during the cricket, I got two requests for a person to do a threesome. I deal with everything with sex, and I make no apologies for that. Persons will call me and tell me their deepest, darkest secret as a stranger, or things that they want to do, or things that their wife will want to do. My job is to facilitate and accommodate, because I may have someone else who also going down that road, and I will try my best to put them together.
At the therapy center, you said that there's a retail store for sex toys. And
Everything.
So let's say that
I had once owned all the sex shop in Trinidad. All.
Yeah.
Even the one in Point 14.
Is that right?
Upstairs KFC.
Yeah, I know where that place is.
Where the pool center was.
Yeah.
That was mine.
Okay.
I had all everyone in Trinidad.
Okay. Now tell me something. People who are shy and stuff, they want to come to the therapy center and they want to see you, but they don't want to go through that store. Do they have to pass through the store?
No, we have a clinic door. We have two doors. One, when the clinic is open, the clinic door is open. Or if you are shy, you just ask the security, I want to go to the clinic, but I don't want to pass through the store. Yeah. You could ask. Yeah. If you come with a child, of course, we won't have you pass through the clinic. Yeah. I mean, the store. Yeah. No, we don't allow that. Right. They have to come to the clinic, and the clinic is very generic. There's not enough a sexual nature in the clinic, because we have children who come there also with their parents.
Should they be given the option to go lecture at schools? Because that's been a big talk at one time.
Go to what?
Sex in school, sex education in school. You think
I used to do it once, but
you think they have the right approach as they...
No, they don't have the right approach. I can tell you that.
Yeah?
They don't. I have given lectures to school until they pass that rule that you can't go and talk to children in school and whatnot. I have done it already on the invite of the principal and whatnot. I've done that in the past. I'll tell you, one of the major issues we face in society right now is young men who don't have a penis or a scrotum. That is becoming a serious issue in our society.
So wait, you people are being born like that now?
No, they're born like that. When they're developing, they're not developing properly.
Oh, okay.
Poor diet. There are men who have more breasts than a chest.
Yeah.
Gynecomastia. I deal with that too. I deal with all that. I change that. You don't have to go and pay $30,000 to do an operation. I change all those things. Of course, you have to be at a certain age and you have to have the guidance of your parents. I have seen young men with a penis that approximately an inch erected and no scrotum underneath.
What are you saying, man?
It's like two little marbles.
He has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Right, there's a person.
I will tell you, I have seen things that will make your blood crawl.
And that can make you flip his screw.
That will make you be, it will affect your mind.
Yeah. You feel lesser than a man, right?
Yeah. I've had 14-year-olds who come to me and they actually have a slit for a penis. Where their penis is supposed to be, it's like a vagina. You'll be surprised what's happening out there in society.
That has anything to do with their genes and stuff?
No, it's not genetic, because the father is perfectly alright, because the father bring them and say, how come his thing not like my own? And it all stems from the bad habits that we propagate in our children, the poor diet that we give them. You know, today, in our society, the things that you and I used to do is almost illegal. You know?
I know. I've realized that as a matter of fact.
You can't go and play gun shooting again.
No.
And run in the bush. And fall along and scrape your knee.
Might shoot you too. For real.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't go and, long ago, we never used to call anybody and go by them. You used to go by your partner's house and walk in the house.
Yeah. We go pick fruits together.
Now, if you do that, the mother might say you come to rape she. Because everything is a problem in society. Everything in society is a problem.
It's true. And it's getting worse.
But we live in an era that we could have done that with ease, without fear. I remember we used to walk down the road with slingshot.
Yeah.
But if a police passes, they hide the slingshot. They hide it.
Yes, it's true.
We go in the bush and we shooting all we birds and things.
Yeah.
Roasting bird in the bush and all them kind of things. But we live in an era where the things that we did then, now it's becoming illegal. That's why I always say things of today that are legal today will be illegal tomorrow, and things that are illegal today will be legal tomorrow.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the era we live in.
We've seen that unfolding big time.
Big time.
It's unfolding.
So as a matter of fact, if you tell children of some of the things that we did, they were like, you used to ride a bicycle without a helmet.
You think some of the sex-oriented problems in teenagers now stem from the fact that they meet as friends on a phone? Back in the day, we praying for moonlight and
well, of course, because there's no physical interaction and there's expectation. You know, it's so easy for a girl to say I love you because they texted it. But do you know the intensity of telling a girl I like you?
Yes.
As opposed to face to face? How much butterflies in your stomach? Them don't know that.
No.
Because them sending you an emoji that tells you I like you, I love you.
Yeah.
They send you a bygone if they want sex. No, they do it. So we
kind of codes now.
no, that code. Yeah. No, we used to have to
send a note.
So not send a note. You meet with the person and you have to romance. No, some people say, well, that's the old time way, but I think it was the better way because what you did, you build a certain rapport, and the person get to know you. And the person get to know your honesty, and if he's a raper man, because you're trying to pull along the drawers.
Bring about that kind of charisma.
Yes.
That helps you to get
no, you don't know who you're dealing with when you Skyping and texting and whatnot.
And
there's so much of false people out there. It's unbelievably. I get it all the time. I get it all the time. Persons who pretend to be who they are not. Sometimes they're male and pretend to be female, or female or vice versa. So there's so much false things in society now that it's going to affect the development of individuals. Yes, to answer your question, the answer is yes, capital yes. 3 exclamation mark afterwards.
For long ago now, you use. I remember as a youth, we going down to the junction. Raj, we spent all morning preparing the gears. We want to go online on the junction within the afternoon just to look at ladies. And you know, when you see them sometimes, you know, it's about Afraid to say what you want to say. You might take a walk with them, and that walk will help you
build up
closer.
right.
You say a word.
Yeah, you say a word. Yes, you're afraid to even say a word. You tell she, I can walk up the road with you.
Yeah.
You're even asking that.
I tell you. But that to me brought about a nice curiosity.
I remember tracking a girl once. I was about 14.
Yeah.
And she used to go and exercise. So I exercising, but I followed from a distance.
Yeah.
Right? It took me maybe about a week or two to start exercising side by side, but you're talking. You're saying a word.
Yeah.
And take you another week to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
But that was a rapport that you build, and there was a chemistry that you're building there that was second to none.
Yeah, because when you look at how things fall apart quickly now, I think it's just because of that technological way of connecting and communicating with that person who probably is a
synthetic way.
Yeah, a synthetic.
It is a synthetic way. That's the word.
It is.
It is a synthetic way.
Yeah.
You are, society has made persons to be robotic. You know, I was watching a movie the other night. I love movies. I think that's one of the reasons I don't get enough rest. And it started off with this man having dreams and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, these alien-looking things come along and start killing people, all these people, left, right, and center. And you wonder why they're killing children and women, and they're just shooting on all of these people, just killing them, eh? And these robot-looking alien people and whatnot, and all of a sudden, they start fighting one, and they took off his helmet, and it was a human being. So all of a sudden in the movie, you start thinking, but you know, the robot-looking things were actual human beings killing synthetic people. The people what the movie started, they weren't real. They were robots. Okay. They were the robots.
Right.
And these are humans because they ran the humans out of Earth and they were living on Mars now. They come back to take over Earth. But they leave you thinking, what is going to, and don't believe that is too far-fetched. Because I remember, in our days, there was a show called Star Trek on TV. Where man will pull out something like a cell phone and do so click, click. Beat me up, Scotty.
Yeah, it's true.
Where you walk up to a door and the door do so whoop. So that could never happen. Where there was a computer and you're talking to somebody somewhere else. Scotty, beat me up. Dick Tracy.
Yeah. That is happening right now. Because the first time I saw a guy talking on this,
but I just talk on my watch. I give my nephew yesterday because I don't like it.
I said, what is he doing?
Yeah, you can talk to your watch.
That's the first time I saw that a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And he said, that's my phone. I said,
yeah.
That's your phone?
Yeah.
I said, my God, look what he's going to Dick Tracy phone.
Dick Tracy?
Yeah.
But those things were far-fetched in the 60s and 70s.
Two questions I want to ask you before we in this 10-minute period. I mean, I don't know if you support or you don't have any sort of bias or anything where the LGBT is concerned. You deal with these people?
Yeah, of course. I deal with everyone. That's why I tell you, I don't discriminate against anyone. Because they have issues also. One of their issues is acceptance. I help them with that. I don't discriminate. I can't afford to discriminate because I deal with sex across the board. You could be gay, straight, bisexual, homosexual, whatever word you want to use, I don't care. You come to me, I deal with you one-on-one. I remember this young guy came to me when he was about 14 with his mother. And he asked his mother to sit outside so he could talk to me. And he told me, he said, well, I wasn't Dr. Raj at that time, so I lied. He said, she said, I am gay, but I don't know how to tell my parents. He said, they want to change me. I said, how you know you're gay? He said, well, I've never had feelings for girls, and I've always had feelings for men and whatnot. And so eventually the Mark bus, you know that bus up the family? Mother went one way, father went the other way, sister went the other way. He now lives in England. And I tried to help them. Actually, they wanted to have him operated on to change him. But these are the challenges that people face, and I deal with these challenges unbiasedly. I don't have any bias towards anything. You come to me, you tell me the situation, and I deal with it. It doesn't. Up to now, nobody could ever tell from my pronouncements on the air whether I am for or against.
Well, that's why I asked you that, because I've been listening to the Sexplosion and now I'm on the program.
You can't tell whether I'm for or against?
No, that's why I asked you that.
Because professionally, you come to me, I deal with you. But I'll tell you something. I live in reality. And I will tell you that I am a strong advocate of people being born that way. Of course, you could be conditioned. But I'm absolutely positively sure that there are individuals who are born that way and there's nothing anybody could do to change that. Absolutely nothing.
So even though you were created with these features as a man,
your sexuality is different. That's why my degree is in sex, gender, and sexuality.
That's a hell of a pill to swallow, you know, man.
It is. And my job also is to tell the straight parents that it is not your fault that the child is born this way. But of course, they hold themselves to blame.
What if the topic does not center around being born that way or develops to be that way?
It could be developed that way because they were sexually abused. So then we have to deal with the issue of sexual abuse. Who were they sexually abused by? Was it an uncle? Was it a neighbor? Was it a teacher? Who was it done by? Let's get down to the root. And then if it have to involve the police, the parents will go and make their report and whatnot. So you could be conditioned to something also. Human being could be conditioned to anything, you know. You could condition to, I'll never give you a good example, and those who don't believe it, there are examples of people getting lost in the woods and the jungles and whatnot, and being reared by monkeys and other animals. And they have all the features of the animal. They behave like the animal. So we could be conditioned to anything. If you read about the persons who were in the Holocaust and people who were captured and people who were POWs and whatnot, they became their environment. In 1970, they found soldiers hidden in the jungles of Philippines and whatnot from the Japanese army who still believed that they were at war. And this is the war finished in 1945, and they were finding them in the 70s. And they would never believe that the Imperial Army will give up.
Imagine that.
We could be conditioned to anything. We could be conditioned to any environment. You could take a man from the desert and send him on top of Mount Everest. And you could take a man from Mount Everest and make him live in the desert. We could be conditioned to anything. That's the adaptability of the human being and the human mind.
Probably the main cause for ethnicity.
So what's the next question you have?
Older guys who became, let's say, there's some young woman that this older guy, like our partner who calls in there.
Latran.
Yeah. How you get a message across to someone who is a lot younger than you? Because I know a lot of people who like that lifestyle. They would spend everything. They call themselves sugar daddies and all that.
Yeah, there are sugar daddies out there, and you have cougars out there too, women who like younger men. That's what they like. And I could do a whole lecture on to why that happens, the psychological effects of that and why it comes about. That will take an entire program. Nah, it's difficult to give a synopsis because if you think, let me try to put it as quickly as possible. In your younger age, if you're honest, and most men are, weren't we all looking for an older woman to break we out?
Exactly. A lot of the guys today were broken out by older women.
And as you get older, wasn't the age coming closer to your age? And as you reach a certain age, wasn't it or isn't it a fact that the younger ones started to look better to you sexually? There's a psychological reason for that. And there will come a time that you'll reach a certain age and a person who is considered to be illegal in terms of age and sex, under 18, will look very enticing to you. Again, that's the human mind. So we legislate against the human mind. We legislate against normal, natural behavior of human beings.
Yeah, we do that.
to try to control.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what is real is real. So when you see an older man with a younger girl, don't be envious or don't be judgmental. Because one day you may be there. I'm not saying everyone is like that, but the possibility exists that you will be there.
Is that good, bad, indifferent, ugly?
It depends on the two persons involved. And it depends on the law.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
If the person 20 years ago, you could have sex with a 14-year-old in Trinidad. Well, maybe more than 20 when Selwyn Richardson was AG. He's the one who changed that law. That when they became Selwyn babies, but you could have had sex with a 14-year-old. And 10 years ago, sexual consent age was 16. Now it's 18. And maybe 10 years from now, it might be 25. Or it might go back to 10.
But why are they making
You never know.
They making rules that are being broken each and every day.
No, but you never know. It depends on who's in power and what the UN says. When people blame the former Prime Minister Kamala for removing corporal punishment in school, she never did that. That was a UN resolution, you know, that corporal punishment should never be done again. We just implemented because we are signatory of it.
Ignorance.
Ignorance again.
We're actually going to pull the curtains down.
Well, I see Junior walked in, so once Junior walked in, we have to walk out.
Yeah, bro, that's it.
Junior, how you like the cricket last night, man?
Good, man.
You actually watch it?
Eh?
I thought you'd like to watch grass grow.
Don't forget it's 20 overs, eh?
So that's just grass growing faster.
You're growing fast, though.
Yes. I had fun last night.
You went down?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
From here, I went to pick up a guy by the window place. Yeah.
I heard that.
When I saw the record working, they get the record and take a big people cars and the thing that it was stolen.
Oh, there were a lot of break-ins and what that?
Yes.
No, well, they were mentioning that before. He got held up at home.
Yeah, they waited, but he lives in St. James, so it's within the same vicinity. People are going crazy now.
Good night, folks.
Yes, it was a pleasure, Raj. I look forward to next Tuesday.